The week begins, everyone. Happy Monday. We got some strength coming at you today with some shoulder press and some Kip Fundamentals Strength work today. So it's going to be some fun stuff here for you guys. What we got? Starting off with our warm-up sets. We're going to work some plank to down dog for 3 to 5, plank lean for 2, to knee to nose for 2, 3 to 5 reps, into a PVC Prone Raise for 3 to 10 seconds, and then a Deadbug for 10 alternating reps. We're going to hit that for 2 to 3. Then we'll move into our first work set with the shoulder press and the floor press. So we got it going on 3 to 5 rounds. Dumbbell shoulder press, 8 to 10 reps at a 3-second negative or eccentric, into a 30-second rest. Then we have our dumbbell floor press, 8 to 10 at 3 seconds in terms of that eccentric, and then 90-second rest in between there. We'll hit that for 3 to 5 rounds, depending on what you want to take down and what you want to give yourself today. And then we'll move into some Kip Fundamentals and Strength work today. We have 3 different work sets. We're going to start by finishing off number 1, number 2, number 3. We're going to start off with 3 rounds. We're going to do laying shoulder flexion for 3 to 5, laying arm extension for 5 to 10, and then an I.W.Ys for 3 to 5. You'll hit that up, resting as necessary in between rounds. You're going to then move into 3 rounds, dumbbell bent row at 5 to 10 aside, laying tuck and tilt for 5, slow. All right, we'll walk you through those, but then again, resting as necessary. Then finishing off 8 rounds, floor kip drill, which I'll review with you guys, is basically going from hollow to arch on the floor for 20 seconds, just max reps in that time frame, working for skill and quality, and then you're gonna rest 10 seconds, you'll do that 8 times around, all right? Lots of good stuff today, lots of strength. Take your time, rest as you need to, make sure you're hitting everything super well, and let's get you warmed up and ready for action. All right, guys, let's get those feet under those hips. Let's take the arms big and tall. Let's just give ourselves a little shrug. We'll come down with the shoulders. We're gonna reach over to one side, and then we'll come back up, and we'll reach over to the other side. We'll come back up, we're gonna scratch our back, and then reach through the elbow. Take those bodies back up, take a big stretch, scratch your back, and then reach over again. Come back up, big stretch, hands out to that T. We're gonna turn them in. Turn them out, turn them in, and out, and in, and out. Big stretch, and forward fold. Let's touch those toes. Walk up the shins. We'll forward fold a little bit more, framing the foot, step it back. Inside hand's gonna reach way up, and we'll take it back down. Outside hand's gonna reach way up. Take it down. Inside hand, reach way up. Down, outside hand, back down, inside hand, and down, outside hand one more time, and down. Let's step back into our plank, nice and tight, rest, set that body position. We'll step the one foot up, again, inside hand, taking it way up to the sky, all the way down, outside hand, back down, inside hand, back down, outside, and down. One more time, inside hand, and down, outside hand, back down. We'll step it back into our plank. Nice and tight, nice and strong. Tiptoe those feet up. We're gonna forward fold and we're just gonna roll ourselves back up. Big stretch, little shrug. Down, bring those hands down. Now let's get you guys fired up, all right? If you'd like to do some more gentle warm-up stuff, please do so. I'm gonna move into that next phase of our warm-up for you guys just to get everything heated up. But pause the video, take down some more stuff if you'd like. Come back and join me. We're gonna start off with the plank to down dog. So plank to down dog, very, very common exercise we like to use. I'm gonna get set up in my plank, hands under my shoulders, my body nice and tight in that plank. I'll pull my ribs and hips together, press through the shoulders to get that nice solid plank first. Then I'm gonna pull my hips back, keeping those armpits nice and pointing down towards the toes, nice and active on the shoulders. And from here, I'll just come back into my plank, trying to pull my ribs and hips in, pressing through those shoulders. And then again, one more time, take it back, nice and solid, and back into my plank, pulling into that nice plank position. Working with that position again, take your time, all right? Focus on that active shoulder, that nice solid rib position to make sure that we're maintaining that stable shoulder all the way up and then all the way back in as we pull those ribs and hips back into our position. So play with that, have some fun with it, see where it takes you. Again, don't rush, take your time. From there, we come back into our plank lean. So we're gonna get back into our plank position. I'm going to show you a couple from the side and a couple from the front. I pull my ribs and hips together, press through the shoulders. I'm going to lean to the left and then lean to the right. We come back to center and I pull my knee to my nose, getting that nice compression. Come back to my plank, squeeze my knee, back to my plank, and that'd be 1 rep. So the big thing with our plank leans, we want to focus on initiating through the shoulders. So I'm going to get back so you guys can see from the front. So my plank position is the same, shoulders over top of the hands, pulling the ribs in, pressing up. I initiate through the upper body. I initiate maintaining that strong shoulder position. And then as I go into my compression, my knee comes up towards my nose. And then I switch. Still maintaining that good active shoulder position the entire time. So don't rush these again, take your time, focus on that pressure towards the ceiling through the upper back, especially as we're shifting from side to side. If you feel yourself sinking, take a moment, reset the shoulders, and then shift to the other side. Our next exercise, we come to the floor. So I'm gonna turn to the side. We're gonna work through that PVC Prone Raise. So this can be done with a PVC pipe held in the hands, a towel, or empty hand, like I'm gonna show you right now. My eyes are going to be down towards the floor. I'm going to squeeze my glutes, pulling my ribs and hips together, armpits pressed down, hands pressed down. So I initiate that initial tension in the body. From here, I maintain that tension and just lift my arms up off the floor, maintaining that tight body position for 10 seconds, and then lowering down, resetting my position, and doing it again. The big thing here, you guys, as I initiate, I squeeze and set the tension, and then only thing that moves, my arms. I'm trying to keep my upper body still and my torso nice and long and straight. Our last exercise is our Deadbug. So we do these quite often, but sometimes you don't see them as often as we would like sometimes. But we have our nice little laying table, all right? Hand above the shoulder, knee above the hip. We're active, our low back is pressed into the floor. And I'm going to pick my starting side. So my right hand, left foot, extend long, keeping the low back down. And then I come back into my table position. I extend, keeping my low back down, and I come back into this position. Taking my time so that I'm not moving with momentum, I'm not losing that low back connection, and we're also isolating the side. We want to make sure that we're not moving everything at the same time. We pick our side, we switch. We pick our side, we switch. All right, so play with that a little bit, take your time. There's 10 reps total, and if you'd like to add a little tempo in there, please do so. If at any point you feel that connection between the low back and the floor start to lift, stop your extension, come back in. Don't worry about getting all the way out there if you start losing that mid-back position. Quick little recap. We have our plank to down dog, 3 to 5 reps. Plank lean for 2 to knee to nose for 2, 3 to 5 reps. PVC prone raise or empty hand prone raise, 3 to 10 seconds. And then a dead bug for 10, alternating reps, 2 to 3 rounds. Pause the video, take those down, get some generalized heat in there. We're going to move into that first phase of work, which is going to involve our dumbbell shoulder press. So I have my dumbbell here. In terms of our work set today, if you only have one dumbbell at home, all right, you can do this per side, and same with the floor press, per side. If you have 2 dumbbells, just do 8 to 10 reps with that negative. So what I'm going to do is turn to the side, so you guys can see. I'm going to clean my dumbbell up to my shoulder. So the back of the dumbbell is resting on the shoulder. My elbow is slightly in front, like I would be with a barbell. My feet are under my hips, or just outside. Glutes are tight, ribs and hips are tight. I get set, and then I shoulder press. I press straight up, so my bicep is close to my ear or slightly behind, and then I lower down 3, 2, 1, so the dumbbell touches the shoulder, little pause, press again. 3, 2, 1, press. So I take that nice, slow lower down, so the elbow goes into that same position where I started from. Very important that we're not going in some weird, strange elbow path, a dumbbell path. It follows the same path from start to finish. If the dumbbells you have at home are too heavy to shoulder press, what you can work on is a push press with the same eccentric. So I get that nice vertical dip, hip is under the shoulder, all right, I drive up, and then I take it 3, 2, 1, down. Dip, press, 3, 2, 1, down. And I'll treat them like individual singles, working from 8 to 10 reps with that 3-second lower. So the push press is there if the dumbbells you have at home are too heavy to shoulder press. Keep that in mind. You'll rest 30 seconds, and then you're going to move into the floor press. So the floor press, we get set up in that bridge position. So my feet are flat. My low back is not pressed against the floor. It's tight, but I don't hollow out. I'm keeping my back neutral, so a neutral lumbar curve. My dumbbell stacked over top of my wrist, nice and engaged, tight to the upper back, and then I'm going to press. So the dumbbell head is over my chin. I'm going to lower down, 3, 2, 1. Elbows at about a 45 degree, just like a push-up. Push. 3, 2, 1. Keeping that wrist stacked over top of my elbow. And press. 3, 2, 1. So I'll hit that up for 8 to 10 reps as well. The big thing here, you guys, if I was laying on my back right now, and I am pulling the dumbbells down, my elbows come into that nice 45 degree, and my wrist stays stacked over my elbow. You want to make sure that it's not collapsing as I lower down. Okay, so we keep it nice and stacked. I lower, keeping it stacked, avoiding that collapse, and then I press up. So really focus on that. Have some fun with these. I love these floor presses. They're always a good time. Get a good pump on for the chest and the arms. After those reps, you'll hit a 90-second rest and then repeat 3 to 5 rounds. So as a quick recap for that first piece of work, we have our dumbbell shoulder press, 8 to 10 reps, 3-second eccentric, or dumbbell push press if the dumbbells are too heavy, same eccentric. Rest 30 seconds into our dumbbell floor press where we lay on the floor, 8 to 10 reps. Again, 3-second eccentric, rest 90 seconds, repeat. Right? Pause the video, take that down, hit it up hard, have some fun with that one, and then come join me for some gymnastics and pulling skill. So our first little phase of this Kip foundation work on the floor, what we're going to work through is just priming up the shoulder in our position. So we're going to go back into that kind of bridge position. I am going to lay feet just outside my fingers. My low back will be pressed into the floor on this one, and I'm going to reach my fingertips towards my heels and then slowly take the arms up and over, keeping the fingers reaching away, the armpits pointing towards the ceiling, and touch, and then come back down with the hands, keeping that low back in contact with the floor. I want to make sure that I'm listening to my body, so if I start to lose contact with my low back, I'll stop. If I start to bend at the elbows, I'll also stop. And I'm just working to my end range. So if you can touch the floor, awesome. If you can't touch the floor, awesome. Take it to where you can get to and make sure that you're working on your edge, not trying to push too far. Our next exercise is our laying arm extension. And these can be lightly loaded a little bit if you'd like. I'm going to lay on my stomach here for a second, getting into that good position I was in for my prone raise, except my hands are going to be to the back. My eyes are down, I squeeze and tuck, and I'm going to lift my arms up, and I'm going to come back down. My shoulders stay back, I lift, and come back down. I lift, back down. And I'm going to give myself a little pause on both ends so that I can own that movement. So with the shoulders, I want you to think about that humeral glide exercise we use where we pull forward and pull back. We want to keep the shoulder in that pull back position as I press. We don't want it dumping forward. Our last exercise is our I.W.Ys and Ys. So I'm going to do one set facing this way and one set facing this way so you can see. The key to this is this can be done great with empty hand and or with a light load. But when I say light load, I mean super light. When we do these in the gym with any loading, at the very most we use is 5 pounds. So I want you to keep that in mind as you're playing with this. I'm going to stand up nice and tall. My feet are under my hips. I pull my hips back like I'm going to launch. My hands hang straight down from my shoulder, and I'm going to lift my arms straight up with my I. I'm going to come back down. I'm going to pull my hands up, framing my head into my W, and then I'm going to come back down and then go out to an angle with my Y, and then come back down. Stand tall and repeat. So I'm going to do that again, facing you guys so you can see. So my I goes straight up. I come back down. My W comes up on the angle, make a little fly position, down, and then my Y straight out to make a little Y. So if I was going to stand tall and show you this exercise, my I would go straight up, my W would frame, squeezing my shoulders together, and my Y, bam, just like the song, all right? And then come back down. So we'll take that down 3 to 5 reps, working on maintaining a tight core, tight glutes, and that nice back extension position. So we don't want to be rounding out here. We want to be in that nice back position as if I was doing a deadlift, pull and a snatch, a clean, whatever it happens to be. Rest as necessary between those rounds. We have 3 rounds of that. It's going to get some good heat, position work in those shoulders. We have our laying shoulder flexion for 3 to 5, laying arm extension for 5 to 10, and the I.W.Ys and Ys for 3 to 5 reps through all that whole sequence. Our next phase we're going to move into is also 3 rounds. We're going to go through some bent row. We're going to work on some strength here. Our bent row, 5 to 10 per side. So I have my bench, I have my dumbbell, and I'm going to get myself ready to go. I'm going to get my knee on that bench. I'm going to plant my hand on the bench like I'm in my tabletop, but on the bench, and the other half is hanging. My dumbbell straight to the side. My arm is going to be slightly lower in terms of that shoulder engagement. I'm going to initiate through my upper back, and I'm going to pull into my low rib. Then I'm going to lower and lower that shoulder. So I engage through the upper back, pull into the rib, come back down, and lower. And I'm going to do that for 5 to 10 reps with nice and good control. I'm not trying to use momentum to get that pull going. I'm really focusing on engaging that arm all the way through the range of motion so that I control every inch of that pull. 5 to 10 per side of that with whatever loading you'd like. If your loading is pretty light for that at home, you can add in a tempo, a nice eccentric, and or you can do a tempo on the pull portion too. So it can be a 3-second up, little pause, 3-second down. That's a nice way to make that a little bit more challenging if the loading you have at home is getting a little bit easier. After the bent row, we have our laying tuck and tilt. So I'm going to lay on my back again, my feet nice and flat. My hands are going to be down by the side. My low back is going to be pressed into the floor like my shoulder flexion. I'm going to take my arms up and over, just like my shoulder flexion, to my end range, wherever that happens to be. And then I'm going to tuck and pull my ribs and hips together, which may pull my hips up off the floor. And then I'm going to tilt, which is going to break through the rib. And then I'm going to pull my ribs and hips together, get that good tuck, and then I'm going to get that tilt as I turn my pelvis the opposite direction. The whole time, I'm keeping my arms straight and engaged and working through that pelvic tilt and tuck to work through that position. My last rep is done. I'll make my back neutral, pressing it into the floor, and then I'll bring my hands down to the ground and reset. And continue on with a little bit of rest or into my next bent row set. Those laying tuck and tilts are challenging in the core, but it might offer you enough rest that you might be ready to go right back into that bent row set and just hammer it out that way. Remember, this is not a metcon. This is about moving with quality and working for strength. Quick recap, we have 3 rounds. We have our dumbbell bent row for 5 to 10 per side. We have our laying tuck and tilt for 5 reps, done nice and slowly, working on that contraction, feeling the tension, feeling the break, and then feeling that tension again as we move through those positions. Our next phase, we have 8 rounds of work for our floor kip drill. Basically what we're working on for this is going through our hollow to arch with 20 seconds of work here. So I'm going to get myself laying on my back into my position. So I'm laying down. I am going to pull my ribs and hips together, getting into my hollow. So I pull in, and then from here, I'm going to come down and squeeze and lift. I'm going to pull in, pulling through my ribs, press into the floor, squeeze and extend. So I'm pressing my ribs and hips together to get my hollow, and then I'm pressing into my shoulders and my heels and squeezing to get that little arch. I'm not trying to go crazy high on that arch. I'm just trying to feel that engagement to squeeze and lift into the opposite side of that hollow. So I get that nice arch hold, but on my back instead of on my stomach. If you have trouble maintaining the hollow and or that arch in this position with 2 feet, you can work with a single. So I will squeeze, keep a leg down, and then I will come down, both feet stay on the floor, squeeze my glutes, press and lift, and then come back down. All right? So a couple options there. It's a cool little drill. It feels a little awkward, all right? It's a little different in terms of the activation for that arch. Just know that it doesn't have to be very high. All right? We're trying to keep our legs nice and straight the entire time. So don't worry so much about getting up, all right, if it means changing our body position. You'll rest 10 seconds and you'll take that down. So you have 8 rounds of work with that, working through that hollow to arch for 20 seconds, and then you'll rest 10, and then you'll do it again, working through for 8 rounds. Just working on that nice change of position and working on your shapes in gymnastics, which is a great skill to have when we put you up on that bar and you can work on that kipping strength through the shoulder. Lots of work to take down today, you guys. We have a lot of fun stuff with our strength work today. Please take the time to enjoy, rest as you need to, replay some of these coaching cues if you need some help with it. But it's going to be a good day, good core day, good shoulder day, lots of pull strength. I'm excited for you guys. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope you have a great day. Start the right way with some good, hearty strength work, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Remember, work for quality, have fun, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, you guys.